Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another video. So let's talk about Fear the Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 3, titled Alaska, and we see the return of Dwight and Althea to the series, and tonight, again, Fear the Walking Dead did a really great job. I mean, I am so blown away with how well these episodes are turning out, and it's the anthology series aspect to it. And it's also the tone change. The tone has changed so much for Fear the Walking Dead. It's just very different, and each episode feels just very unique. The dialogue, like just what the characters are saying, their expressions, their mannerisms. It's like there's just something about it that's very different than older seasons. It's not like they're just like so mopey and so philosophical anymore. They're just kind of hanging out. Like I like the scene tonight where Althea and Dwight were just there having beer and they were just talking about Isabel and stuff like that. Like I like that scene. Those characters were just like Dwight was just so normal there, you know? So before we go any further, I do have to warn you for spoilers for tonight's episode. There is some pretty big moments that happened in tonight's episode. Actually, one very big moment that we've been waiting for years, and it was just everything. It was, in my opinion, it was amazing. It was just everything I could have imagined for that reunion. So I also do want to let you know that I will be posting a World Beyond review right after this, and also a special video that's coming out right afterwards, and it's about, I guess I can't really say, but it's I will say there is a post-credit scene, and I recommend that you watch it. I thought it was a teaser trailer or a trailer or something for episode 5, but it's a post-credit scene. So in my video, you're probably going to hear me, and I made sure to correct it, but a few times I do say it's a trailer for episode 5, but actually it wasn't. It's a post-credit scene, which I thought was really cool. So if you haven't checked out World Beyond yet, and you're currently checking it out right now, I recommend staying until after the credits because you're definitely going to be treated with something because, yeah, it's pretty exciting. So if you want my videos and all that, and if you are new here, just make sure to be a subscriber. So, like I said, Fear the Walking Dead did it again. This is 3 solid episodes. This is 3. And tonight's episode was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I figured tonight was going to be good just based off of how well Fear the Walking Dead's been doing. But there was something about Dwight, his look, the environment, the way they were running around a city at nighttime, everything about it felt just so unique. I like all these characters. I used to like Althea. I think early in season 4, I really liked her. And then I just got to a point where I just didn't care for the character anymore. But after tonight's episode, I like the character again. I really do. I see that for episode 4, I believe it is, right? Yeah, episode 4 for Fear the Walking Dead. That we're going to see John come back, and yeah, I want to see where they go now with that, because this is 3 solid episodes now. The first one with Morgan and the Bounty Hunter was amazing. The second one we had Strand and just how far he went. We also had some Morgan stuff there, which is it was a good episode. And then we get this one here with Dwight and Sherry's reunion at the end, and just the whole story with Dwight throughout. It made me realize how much this character is very underused. He's a really great character. Dwight is such an awesome character, and it makes sense. He's the Daryl of the Walking Dead comic, because in the comic, obviously Daryl doesn't exist, right? And Dwight, or Daryl, I guess, is kind of inspired by Dwight a little bit, anyways. I feel like they've inspired each other throughout the years. Like Kirkman will do certain things because of Daryl, and they're both kind of the same person a little bit, anyways, not completely. But Dwight's awesome. Dwight's such an awesome character, and I think this is how you tell stories for Fear the Walking Dead. Honestly, I think they have to continue doing this for at least the remainder of the series, just because I like spending time with these characters just alone. I don't really like the characters altogether. I don't know what it is. Maybe they could write it better now, but there's just something about the anthology part of this where you're focusing on like these mini stories on characters you already like, and just, you know, being in certain circumstances and dealing with like the rat plague and stuff like that in a city at nighttime. And you can play around with tones and things like that, color grading, because it was very green and stuff like that outside, which is kind of cool. Kind of reminded me of like Maximum Overdrive a little bit, which is, I don't know why I had that feeling, but just reminded me of that. But like I said, we got Dwight and Sherry's reunion, and yeah, I had tears in my eyes when it happened. I wasn't expecting to get tears in my eyes. I really wasn't, but it was the music. It was the way this scene was done. I was so blown away. He hears his voice on the radio, and I mentioned this, I think, in my trailer breakdown for this week's episode, and I mentioned that Althea had to be the one on the walkie-talkie because if Dwight was around and he heard that voice, he was going to know that it was Sherry. And what happened? Dwight was around, and he heard that woman on the walkie-talkie, and he knew it was her. He just had that feeling, and then he just talked to her, and she said Dwight or whatever, and then he ran out there. And the score in this scene, I think, just did everything so perfectly. And I don't know, I don't really tear up for moments like that. I usually don't, because it's just like, I don't know, like a scene that I guess I teared up at, and I usually always do, is when Rick finds Carl again and Lori, like in season 1. That it's just such a moving scene. It's just, he was so desperate to find his son and his wife, and then he finally does. And just the music and everything there, how happy he is, just how happy Carl is too. I mean, that's Carl gets to see his dad, like that's such a powerful moment. And this scene, it hit me like that, because Sherry and Dwight, that story has been going on for a very long time, since season 7, when Dwight was a bad guy, when no one liked Dwight. And that's what I mean, man. Like, this character is just, he's such an awesome character. It's also just so refreshing to see Sherry back on the show. And I hope nothing happens with her in the next, however many years. I hope she's on the show for quite a bit. Sadly, on this show, people are just going to die. But I hope that, like, because we've been waiting for so long for this reunion, that they just leave it be for now. I think it's been like 3 or 4 years. It's been a very long time, because she left in season 7. I think it was early in season 7, or no, I think it was like season 7 episode 11, 12. I don't remember the episode, but there was an episode where she did leave. It might have been the mid-season finale, and then Dwight later on was looking for Sherry and then found that note or whatever. But they haven't seen each other in a very long time. That was years and years ago. Now, Fear the Walking Dead, at least timeline-wise, they're not that, I don't remember the exact timeline, but they're close to, or at least a little bit after, Rick was taken away in the helicopter. So in reality, it's been about a year or two since Dwight and Sherry have seen each other, which for us is it's been way longer. And that's the thing too, they are playing with time, so it could be very different right now. Like, we don't know where season 6 is on the timeline. So it could have been 2 years, it could have been 3 years, I have no idea. But it's been a very long time, and this reunion scene, it was done greatly. Like, they did this moment justice, and that's why I wanted to talk about it so much, because there's so many things I want to talk about with this episode, but it's just, I have to put a lot of my focus here, because I was blown away. I was blown away with how well they handled it, and it was so emotional, and I can't wait to see the two characters again together, just talking up and catching up on just everything, because that is my question now. What happens in the future with these characters? They are probably not going to go the comic route, because in the comic, what happens is Sherry goes pretty crazy and tries to kill Rick, and then Rick, I think he tries to protect himself, or he does something. Some kind of self-defense move, or it's something like that. But Sherry falls, and I think she like breaks her neck on a chair. It's something like that. It's not Rick's fault, and Sherry was acting really crazy, so he tried to defend himself. I'm pretty sure anyways, but I know it wasn't Rick's fault. But Dwight, he saw that, and then he thought, you know what? Why do we always have to listen to Rick? And then he started to rebel against Rick Grimes and Alexandria and stuff, and he wanted to be the leader, and then eventually, as we know, this led to his death later on, like issues later. Now, I don't think this is going to happen. Obviously, they could do that in the future, but it depends on what they do with the Sherry character, because Sherry, we haven't spent a lot of time with, and all of our knowledge of the character is during the Negan arc, and she really wasn't that likable then. Like, she kind of treated Dwight like shit, but she kind of had her reasons too, so it is like exploring a new character again. So we got to see where she's at right now, and I guess how she treats other people and stuff, right? And also, Althea talked with Isabel, so that was kind of cool. So tonight's episode had a lot of like love themes throughout. And yeah, the CRM, they're near. And I do think we're going to see Isabel very soon, just because we heard her here. I think we will see her this season for sure. All the characters tonight worked really well, all the new characters anyways. All the stuff that happened inside that building with all the rats and stuff like that. Really great stuff. I don't know. I apologize that I mostly focused on the Dwight and Sherry thing. I just really wanted to talk about that, because that kind of was the ending result of the episode. It was like Dwight mentioned Sherry so many times earlier on. Like, they were setting up that moment early on in the episode, and it just kept building and building and building to that moment. And yeah, I mean, what else can I say? They got to the roof. They talked with Isabel and stuff. We got the reunion scene at the end. It was just overall a great episode. There's actually a few things that I do want to mention that I did like the found footage style shots that they had when they entered that. I think it was like an old folks home, or it was something like that. They entered a building like that, and I thought that was kind of cool. It was like GoPro footage. Actually, it was like not dash cam, but what would you call it? Body cam, right? It was like a body cam footage style thing. That I thought was super cool because it felt so real, especially when Althea was killing the walkers. It felt very video game-like, and I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, overall, great episode. I would say this is my favorite episode of Fear the Walking Dead Season 6. For sure, this is my favorite. Second favorite is episode 1. And then third favorite would be episode 2. And episode 2 was still a great episode, but episode 1 and 3 focused on some of my favorite characters, right? With Morgan and Dwight. Yeah, overall, I really enjoyed the episode. Post all your thoughts down below. Let me know what you guys thought of the episode. Make sure to be a subscriber if you want more Walking Dead content like this, and I'll see you guys in the next one.